Question: what team scares you the most heading into the NHL playoffs? Is it the best team in the NHL? That would make sense. For some of you, it's an entire state. I can see that, considering that's where the defending champs are from. But one team that no one wants a piece of right now heading into the playoffs are the St. Louis Blues. Backed by a general manager who isn't afraid to put his balls on the table and shake up the league with some controversial moves, the Blues have become the hottest team in the NHL. We've seen this all happen before with St. Louis, and then they went on to make history because of it. On any given night, this version of the Blues have become a problem for the league. And when you take a look at how they've turned things around, they may just be the most frightening first-round underdog going into the NHL playoffs. Coming out of the Four Nations tournament, the St. Louis Blues are 15-2-2 and may never lose again. Yeah, there's the jinx. Sorry, Blues fans, but even if the streak does come to an end, this team may very well be a massive problem heading into the playoffs. First, we got to take a look at how we got here. Now, St. Louis coming into the season, there wasn't much expectations with them being a retooling team. Then out of nowhere, they made a ton of noise by offer sheeting both Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway of the Oilers. However, even after pissing off Edmonton by taking two of their young studs, St. Louis got off to a rough 9-12-1 start under their new coach Drew Bannister. While that was going on, the Boston Bruins got off to a .500 start, and being an organizational mess right from the start with the whole Swayman saga, they fired their head coach Jim Montgomery despite having a .652 win percentage in his Boston tenure. So Blues GM Doug Armstrong decided to make another bold move and fire his coach to bring in Jim Montgomery. Since then, in all three zones, the team has improved. Let's start with offense. Prior to Montgomery, the Blues ranked 30th in goals per game, 25th on the power play, and 21st in terms of 5-on-5 shooting percentage. However, now Montgomery and his tactics have changed that, as they've now improved in all of these categories. The biggest jumps being in goals per game and 5-on-5 shooting percentage. That's because Coach Jim Montgomery has always had his teams value quality chances over quantity. This is somewhat different from, let's say, the Florida Panthers, who generate offense with a more shoot and retrieve type of style that relies on winning your battle on the 50-50 puck and maintaining possession to create chaos. Instead, the Blues are encouraged to hang on to possession and be far more active as a five-man unit in the O-zone to create a high-quality chance. This is something that we saw a ton in Boston when Montgomery was the coach. Where most teams may throw a puck on net from a lower percentage area outside of the house, they would opt to maintain possession and use a combination of player and puck movement to create a high danger chance. This philosophy has been adopted by St. Louis, and it's why during this hot streak, they rank first in slot shots and expected goals for. This goal here is a perfect example of the new philosophy of patience and offensive motion. As the puck goes high, Blues defenseman Cam Fowler opts not to take a shot. While there is some traffic and a puck on net could never hurt, there's no St. Louis player in the immediate blue paint. So this shot will either get blocked or stopped as it is from the perimeter. So he's going to hold off, and all the other Blues are going to get in motion. Holloway is going to swing up towards the point. Two Blues are going to head downhill, and Kyrou over here is going to begin motioning up towards the blue line as well. Now, with Minnesota playing man-on-man, the tiny bit of movement has created some space. So they move the puck down the wall, and Kyrou is going to continue to climb up, which forces this defender to follow him up high. Now, the Blues and the Wild have four skaters above the circles. That leaves a one-on-one down low. This specific shot location is worse than the original, but because of the movement and patience, it's actually created a more quality chance as St. Louis has a man in front. Braden Shen is going to win those battles all day long. Thanks for coming out. We have a goal. You'll also notice this works really well against other man-on-man schemes too, like against Montreal. Now, the Habs do play a hybrid structure, so they got that box plus one or zone coverage down low, and if the play goes to the blue line, they go into a man-on-man. Again, St. Louis gets active in the O-zone. All four Blues players swing up high, and just look at the level of confusion and mix-up this creates for Montreal. Everyone ends up looking like a teenager at prom, unable to find their dance partner, and all of a sudden you got 8 players above their circles again, and there's that 1v1 that St. Louis wants at the net. Kyrou gets the puck out of the mess, and here comes the patience. Can he shoot here? Yeah, but he's going to step in, wait for additional traffic to form, and even changes the angle last second to beat the goalie. It's this level of unpredictability in their offensive game that is just making them so dangerous right now. With the Blues giving their defenders the green light to get off the blue line and dive deep into the zone, it gives them all kinds of flexibility to use these scissor plays up high and facilitate potentially uncontested looks like this one. They also like to bring a third forward up high as well when they have possession. So even when their Ds do stay anchored on that blue line, that high forward can catch the opposing team sleeping and attack downhill without being covered. This type of versatility isn't just limited to being in the zone either. Defenders are very much encouraged to jump up into play and join the rush on the breakout. We all know this isn't revolutionary, but in the modern NHL, you need to have your D activate to be a more dynamic offensive team. What this has done though is it's allowed their best players like Thomas and Kyrou to have support off the rush so that they can work their magic. Also having defenders like Falk, Fowler, and Broberg being enabled with this type of system just allows them to flex their offensive muscles a little bit more. All of these little details have ultimately breathed new life into St. Louis's offense. An emphasis on quality and possession in the zone, combined with a more aggressive approach on the rush, has ignited this team's ability to score. On the other side of the coin, St. Louis has been a defensive wall. According to Mike Kelly on Twitter, they're only giving up 2.7 rush chances per game during this win streak. That is the best in the NHL, as the league average is 6.4. Defending the rush starts up ice and mostly in the neutral zone. They play a 1-2-2 formation, which is usually the standard for most NHL teams, but again, it's the execution of St. Louis as a whole that is setting them apart right now. Just look here how they completely snuff out rookie Lane Hutson, who has shown he's got the ability to be a one-man breakout. The F1's job is to pressure him and force him to one side of the ice. But in this situation, he's already beat. However, two things prevent this from getting dangerous. One, the back pressure from the F1 is going to create urgency on Hutson. And the second is going to be the F2's positioning to have a solid gap and take away the middle. Hutson is forced to try and squeeze through two defenders and then watch the F3 dart across to just completely kill the play and force a dump in, with both Montreal forwards stalled at the blue line flat-footed. Maybe the best example of their structure was against the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs are the second best rush team in the NHL, and the Blues only held them to 4 rush chances because of their structure. The Avs are the fastest team in the league, and with players like Necas, McKinnon, and Makar, the only way to stop them is up ice before they even get going, and the Blues did that each time. Here, look at Necas begin to wind up, and the Blues get in that 1-2-2 structure. Again, this is a tied game too, so there's no need to get over aggressive and start chasing. The F1 is going to try and steer the play towards the boards while getting in front of Necas. Colorado is then forced to go D to D. St. Louis does a good job at maintaining posture and forces a tip in, while Necas is stalled at the blue line after gaining all that speed. When he does end up getting possession, it's just a fantastic combination of pressure and positioning from the F1 and F2 to keep Necas from stepping into the middle with speed. Now he's got to turn back into the boards, and there's 2 Blues that are there to close in on him. He still makes a decent play to advance this puck to Nichushkin, but St. Louis has numbers back, and in their structure, they're once again going to force a dump in. Every time one of Colorado's weapons got the puck with the intention of using their speed to create off the rush, St. Louis always had numbers back to take away the middle and force the Avs to go through multiple layers. The Avs' best players didn't get a sniff off the rush, and it was a big reason why the Blues were able to win their 9th game in a row. Of course, we also got to give some love to Jordan Bennington. Bennington's 10 wins since the break are tied for the most in the league, and in that span, he's at a .917 save percentage and a 2.09 goals against average. Bennington, in comparison to other goalies, plays a more aggressive and mobile style that can leave shooters frustrated. Other goalies may stay deeper in the crease to eliminate any unnecessary movement, but Bennington isn't afraid to challenge and come out in the white ice to cut off that angle. This may leave him vulnerable to rush chances, as his aggressiveness gives him a smaller window of time to set his feet out of his movement. We did see this get exposed a few times during the Four Nations tournament. However, it's a great thing that St. Louis has been really dialed in with their rush defense, as Bennington's life just becomes a whole lot easier. All of this combined has created a team that has become a problem for the rest of the league. And there's still time for things to change, but as of right now, the Blues will be in one of the final wildcard spots in the West. That means they'll likely face either the Vegas Golden Knights or the Winnipeg Jets in round 1. No playoff matchup is easy in the NHL, but for the team that does draw St. Louis in the first round, they could be in big danger of being on the wrong side of an upset. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Once again, big shout out to Sport Contract who made these breakdowns possible. If you're a coach, scout, and organization, it's the perfect tool for you. So check that out in the description. And also click that subscribe button. We're almost at 250,000 subscribers. Would love to hit it before the playoffs. And if you want to see more breakdowns and weekly recaps, come join the Hockey Psychology community, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications.